All right, everyone, welcome back to Central Coast Disc Golf. This is the 2023 Santa Cruz Masters Cup. I am your host, Nate Perkins, and I'm joined here today with my good friend and local Santa Cruz disc golfer, Shasta Criss.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Man, it's an honor to be here with you in the booth, Shasta, and it is an honor to be voicing over one of my favorite tournaments all time, the Masters Cup. What do we got on hole one?
Hole one, we have a combined hole. We're teeing off from what would be course number 5 and going to 1 in the long position. It's a very extreme uphill par 3. One Mando on the right that we got to stay left of, and here we go.
Man, I've never actually seen it played from hole 5 to one's basket before.
This is something they tried out for, I believe, the Odyssey Challenge at the end of last year and gave it a whirl. I think they might have, I didn't play it. I think they might have tried this hole for the first time, but I'm not exactly sure. It's a doozy to start.
So Gannon was in Arkansas last week for the Pro Tour at Jonesboro, and he decided to fly all the way to Santa Cruz to try and defend his title from last year.
I think that's pretty awesome. I was wondering if he was going to come do it because I knew the schedule gets really tight that time of year, but I know Santa Cruz is very happy that he came to defend his title. It means a lot to our community.
And this is Tony Tran. Tony won the MP40 division, besting you by just one stroke a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes, he did win. He actually got me by 2, but yeah. My boy Tony Tran, I've actually known him since I was a child growing up here in Santa Cruz, and it's his first Masters Cup win. He's been playing them even longer than I have, so I was happy for him.
And Cole Redalen, fresh face on DGA, and this is a DGA event this year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I believe we sponsored DGA. I say we because DGA is my sponsor. Since 2016 was the last time, but then we've got it back. It's great to have the local company having our local tournament be the title sponsor. I know it means a lot to our company and brand.
Man, talk about the difficulty of this approach right here. This is normally a really bad spot to land from hole 1's tee.
Yeah, I don't think I've probably ever landed on here since my first time I played De La Viega. This is just getting up to these Mando trees up here is pretty easy to do off the tee. So, yeah, this is a scrambling hole to start.
Ooh. What's Cole throwing for that slot? Probably a Quake?
Quake, it might be a breaker.
Okay.
I don't know his bag that well yet. It was the first time I played with him throwing DGA. He's throwing a lot of the new this year's Tour Series discs, which they all kind of look similar. So I know he'll be throwing some Pipelines, Hypercanes, Hurricanes. I know that Tony Tran right there, he's one of the best at throwing up shots with mid-ranges.
And this is not an easy spot to get up and down from.
No, after that first kick, I knew I was going to be behind a wall of trees over there. It's unfortunate.
What?
Here we go.
I'm so glad you didn't tell me any of these shots. Oh, man.
That's a good way to start off with a nice little easy threesy.
Whoa.
Well,
what a
sometimes
sit.
with the bad comes a little good.
And so we've been playing on Mach X's here for maybe 6-7 years, and they just changed it up to the Mach 7, DGA's newest basket.
Yeah, it's kind of one thing about the history of De La Viega having DGA right in the backyard. We've usually are premiering whatever the premium basket from DGA is, and we come out with the Mach 7 a couple years ago, and it's a really beautiful basket. It's nice visibility. It's a nice change to have some fresh baskets always on a course. So I love the Mach X, but I love the Mach 7 too. So it's all good with me.
And we are going to be seeing quite a bit of that Gannon putt.
Man.
Just tossing it from that left hip.
Oh, incredible.
All right, hole 2. This is original hole 2. It says 270 feet. I feel like this takes like 420 feet of power because of how uphill it is off the tee and just the shape. If you're throwing the right hand backhand, you can't just throw pure hyzer. You kind of have to flip one up and push this tree that we're flying up to now. And then, of course, this is one of the many holes out here with extreme rollaway potential.
Correct. Yeah, this cliff behind the basket is one you don't really want to mess around with. This is one of the ones that have made De La Viega famous for the drop-offs.
Oh, get left, dude.
Gannon was trying actually a grenade shot there. He had the disc upside down. It was hard to tell there, but he kind of missed his line. But
Freaking bird, man.
this was pretty funny. Cole was getting razzed by this little bird right here on the front of the tee pad. Didn't want to leave him alone. We kind of saw it as an omen, though. Ooh.
It's a nice shot. Pretty scary spot to putt from, though.
Yep, he's going to have a decision to make there. But yeah, Nate, what you were saying about the 270 feet uphill, you're so right. I played De La Viega for so long without knowing the true distances of the holes because they're all a little uphill, a little downhill. It seems like the uphill ones are 270 that play 400, and the downhill ones are 400 that play 270. So it kind of washes as far as the distance goes.
I never look at the signs out here.
No.
You're totally right.
Yeah, it wasn't until I was starting to show the course to people and they're asking, oh, how long is this one, Shasta? I'm like, well, it plays this long. I have no idea the actual distance.
And this is one of those holes where, you know, you can obviously tell there's a drop off behind the pin, but until you come here and play it in person, your disc could roll like 800 feet and just down into a canyon.
Yeah, you could find some hiking trails and mountain bike trails down there and maybe some discs that were lost 30 years ago.
And Cole just staying super relaxed in the upper body and putting that circle's edge putt in for birdie.
That was a nice little tester putt for Tony. I know he's made that one hundreds of times in his life, though.
Wonder when Vans is going to realize that a lot of these top players are repping the ultra range.
I've been noticing that, too. It's kind of... I feel like every time I watch coverage, there's at least one or two people wearing them, so... There's some opportunities.
Good
Vans, I know you're watching.
It's a good look at Cole's delivery right there. One of the many talented youngsters in the game.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's such a great, I don't want to call him a kid because he's an adult now. He's 18 years old, but he's got a great head on his shoulders. All the talent you could ever hope for. I'm excited to watch his career progress and blossom.
And this is a very unique hole. I've actually never even heard of this being played. We're playing hole 3 to hole 4's basket.
Correct.
This is the fairway of the Barsby Roller Ace right here, and there's a Mando tree that's like pin high with 3's basket. Shasta, this is a crazy hole.
This is a crazy hole. There's not really, well, I guess I take that back. You can just throw a hyzer around the Mando tree. Down to the short position.
That is hundreds of feet further than any other shot I saw. So this high gap that they're taking right here, it's super dangerous. If you hit any of those pines, you kick down and left, you're short of the Mando. You kick right, you're not going to be able to get in position to get up and down for par. Those are both just huge shots.
Definitely. I think this is the definition of a scramble safari hole.
Ooh, and Tony kind of pulling that one, getting a little.
He got away with that
lucky.
one. That's for sure.
What are you throwing right here?
I'm throwing a pipeline. I'm trying to go low and make the Mando. And I need to miss this tree, which I don't. But I liked it out of my hands. It dropped into a spot where I found a new way to progress down the fairway. Let's kind of take it up through here and
Skirting that Mando, flipping that Hurricane up. And the 2-meter rule is back in effect. So anytime you throw high here at De La, you are just fingers crossed that you hear your disc hit the ground.
Oh, all day long. We had a lot of rain this winter, and these oak trees are thick and ready to grab your discs.
That's probably the greenest I've seen De La, honestly.
Oh, yeah. This is the greenest it's ever been for the Masters Cup in all the years I've played. We're still getting rain. I mean, it's raining actually right now as we speak.
And you were here for a lot of that. That atmospheric river, was it, that came through? And
Yes. Yeah, Santa Cruz Central Coast, I know California and the whole West Coast got hit hard, but we seemed to get the brunt of it over and over and over. They were actually giving categories for the atmospheric rivers. I remember them saying, we're going to have a Category 4 atmospheric river coming in. So there's new weather terms being developed for the kind of weather behavior we've been having.
And not too surprised to see the layup right there. This is another hole with rollaway potential.
It's very true. Lots of rollaways, lots of roots. So you got to be careful with your layups too here, because you could lay up, hit a root, catch an edge, and start rolling. You can't really ever put your guard down out here.
We don't have UDIS stats today with this event not being on the tour for the first time in many years, but those are two of not too many birdies right there on hole 3.
Oh yeah, I think I said it during the round. They broke the hole with those drives.
Yeah.
They found the biggest gap to get the furthest down the fairway, and that's how you get an easy 3.
And walk us through this one, Shasta. This is one of our favorites out here.
All right, here we have hole 4. This is a classic tunnel, slow, gradual, downhill shot. Invisible from the tee, but really you're trying to throw your straightest shot in between these last 2 pine trees, holding straight the whole way. This oak tree right here has gradually grown closer and closer to the ground, so the window has gotten smaller and smaller. This is a really awesome classic De La hole.
Yeah, you can't see this pin at all, like you said, and you're kind of feeding your disc through a little slot right here because of that oak tree that you mentioned continues to drop. And look at this. Wow, just hovering over the top of the hill. And
that was very close to exactly what you want to do.
Gannon going Annie to flat for his straight shot, and just hyzers a little too much. Gets one of the center pines. You know Tony's back very well. What's he throwing right here? Looks like a fairway.
He's throwing a red driver here.
Kind of looks like some end of a plastic.
Maybe, yeah.
You going pipeline?
I'm going pipeline. It's one thing about De La Viega is, especially when you have a little bit of wind, it picks up, it goes down, it swirls around a little bit, and that was one of those circumstances. Right when I stepped up, the headwind picked up a little bit. I hit my line, but it flipped it.
And one of the things I love about De La is you really have to focus on every shot. These 100 and 150 foot little approaches can be some of the most vital shots of the round. If you don't focus, you can catch edge so quick and just roll forever. Even on a good shot, you can get...
Yeah.
You can get Daylawed.
Daylawed. It's a term that I feel like the Masters Cup, it was coined with all the players coming to the Masters Cup over the years. Because being a local player, you just kind of get used to those nuances that we call being Daylawed. But I think everybody's coming to town, seeing their discs roll away, catching those invisible branches, and the term getting daylogged was coined. It's not really as much. It's become more of a local term, but it was definitely the outsiders that came in that brought that term to the course.
Okay, nice. And we were just chatting. This is at least the 30th Masters Cup.
Definitely.
Course is going on 40 years.
Going on 40 years. 1984 is when baskets went in the ground. I wish I knew when the first Masters Cup was. I know Marty Hapner, yesterday, our tournament director, bless his heart, he was wearing a 1993 Masters Cup t-shirt yesterday. Fresh. It was like it was 30 years ago. He just pulled it out of the drawer. It was great. And it's kind of funny. I remember I started playing De La Viega in 92. And I'm pretty sure I came up to that 1993 Masters Cup trying to play around and got shut down. The course was closed. There were signs everywhere, all these people. And I remember being kind of a bitter teenager that I wasn't going to be able to play around at Daylaw that day.
Yeah, that's amazing, Chest. I was born in 92.
There we go.
Ton of history here. This is a classic downhill par 3. You can go putter, you can go mid. Some people down tempo on a fairway. Cole's going putter here. Probably premium plastic, steady.
Yeah, I know he likes to throw the steady BLs.
Mm-hmm. Is BL just beadless or?
It's a beadless.
Okay.
Yep.
And look at how Gannon chooses to throw a straight shot, Shasta.
That's how Gannon throws straight shots.
That is. He loves those kind of Annie to scooping flat shots with a overstable disc. And this is a pretty line. Needs that little Annie skip.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he's thrown that hole a few times.
He definitely has. Tony throws mid-ranges very well.
This is Aftershock?
This is an Aftershock, a.k.a. my Limey. Because of the color, I've been throwing this version of an Aftershock for many years. That's what he does.
55-footer.
55-footer makes
in
it
the
look
heart.
like a 25-footer.
It's actually the distance I've noticed Cole struggling with the most is the deep circle 1. Oh.
All right, one of us doesn't get big putted by old Gannon there.
Oh, were you feeling that pressure a little bit?
No, I actually told myself, like, make this, don't get, like, because they had just both missed after he made the big one. So, no, definitely, sometimes a little bit of self-talk, but it was definitely positive thoughts. I was thinking, make this putt.
Look at that. Heiser, spinner, Shasta Criss, the classic. How long you been putting like that, man?
Always. I've always been a Heiser putter.
That's amazing.
I didn't realize I Heisered as much until I saw myself on film the first time, actually. I'm like, oh, wow, I really do Heiser that thing.
It is
Looks
always,
like it's going straight to me when I'm in the circle.
Always interesting when you watch yourself play. You can learn a lot. Walk us through this one, man. This is course hole 8A.
8A. This is the one we put in about 30 years ago. Actually, it kind of became a filler hole, but another classic. Hit the gap. Very technical. This is one of the shortest holes in the course, but it's got some teeth. Feels really easy if you throw it right, but if you're a little off, as you can see, look at this canyon to the right.
Oh, that was about as tight as you could.
That was very tight. It's one of those ones where you're like, oops, but go in. That's exactly what I'm going for. One thing about this is everything slopes right, so you really don't need to park this hole to park it. The ground play will actually just feed your disc right to the pin.
Yeah, cool.
That's exactly what you want to do. I know this old seasoned disc right here is a champion rock that Tony loves to throw these days.
Wow, there's 4 quality shots right there. Was there a gallery out here?
We did. We had a pretty nice gallery. I want to say maybe at one point a few dozen people, maybe close to 50. I don't know. I'm pretty good at blocking that aspect out when I play, but there was people around.
Would you say that you had some nerves coming into this round?
For sure. I don't think there's been a Masters Cup where I wasn't nervous on hole 1. This one means a lot to me. It's my home tournament. There's so much prestige around it, you know. It's great. It makes me know that I still care, and it's a lot different feeling knowing that it's a combined hole too. It's a lot more of a doozy to start on now. Well, that was cool. Nice little star frame for us.
Oh, sweet.
We'll take that.
Hole 7, dead straight position, 366 feet. This is a really tough shot to shape. There's one tree that just kind of skirts out into the center of the fairway.
Right
Sometimes
there.
you'll see a disc go right
Bullseye.
through the little pocket.
Yeah, that branch drives people crazy, but that branch is what makes this hole.
Yep.
You have to throw a straight tunnel shot and either decide to go over it or under it. Sometimes you can squeeze through it. Gannon's trying to have nothing to do with it and do a forehand flex around it all.
Oh, I love that shape. And just needed to get inside that last tree.
Yep.
If this fairway is just wide enough to be able to shape something at this distance, you're going hurricane here.
Yep. I definitely erred on keeping it low on this one. That way if I get any kicks, they're going to be less extreme. Once you get kicked off this fairway, it's really tough to scramble.
That drifted right into that tree. A bit lower, and that might have been the shape.
That was what he was going for.
Pretty bad position to be in. Early left over there.
Yeah, that makes it really tricky.
So typically, when we played De La Viega for the Masters Cup, we're playing, 24 holes, sometimes more, sometimes a little less. I think this is the first time that we've played just 18 holes out here, and it feels different. It feels like you really have to get your scoring in and avoid bogeys. The course is, as far as par goes, is playing really difficult.
100%. It's true. It's one thing about De La Viega. We have 29 holes out here, so this is a kind of a course that it's like a marathon, not a sprint. But it's a little bit more of a sprint now with the 18 holes, and every stroke has a little bit more value on it.
We were talking about what a potential hot round was going to be, and you were saying
Nice
like
putt.
5 to 7 down might be the hot round of the tournament. So pretty rare that we say that.
It is. The way we set par, we're having it as a 56, so 2 par 4s. I think it would be pretty easy to call this course a par 58, and nobody would be thinking that's the wrong par. It's playing a little hard. We're traditionalists out here at De La Viega. We like really difficult par 3s, so there's a lot of tweeners.
Driving that left arm down, that's
So smooth.
pretty quality form. I've never actually played this hole before this year. This is course hole 12. Typically, we call this one the kitchen, and we're throwing right across that valley.
Yeah, this is usually in the wind chimes position, which is far right across that valley. But we'll be playing that pin from a future hole. This one's perched up on this mound. It's a very precise shot. If you don't land it within like a 20-foot circle, you're going to be down, hopefully having a putt up at it.
Scannon's A2, hitting right at the lock. Oh, and rolling down that hill.
It could be 100 feet from the base.
Exactly.
That's the difficulty of this one.
Didn't get quite enough on that little baby forehand. It's such a touchy little shot here.
It's so touchy. I mean, you could see Gannon spiked right on it. He rolled. You came up short.
Oh boy.
Cole kind of flattens that one out. Stability of the disc kind of helps him out, though.
Yeah, it's such a touchy shot. It's kind of, you know, he stalled it out a little bit more, and the hyzer caught up with him. He thought he threw it too straight. Tony,
Yep.
I love watching him throw these shots. He just makes them look so easy, so casual.
How long has Tony been playing?
Yeah, I feel like we've been playing a similar. I think he started in high school, so he's actually. I graduated high school in '94. I think he was a year ahead of me in '93, and yeah, we both started sometime in high school.
Thank you.
Cole's putting together a quality front nine.
Yeah, can't really think of much of a better start. A little high, but it let her in. Getting a little De-La dirt in my hands. My favorite grip control.
Package some up with you, take it with you on the road.
Oh, I do. I got my favorite little honey hole spots on the course. I like to find the pine trees that are dead and decomposing and turning into sawdust. It's the mwah.
High five, baby.
Here's a classic hole.
555 feet flying over Lake Maple.
Yep. Here we have one of the probably toughest par threes in the game. 555 feet. You got to get about 2/3 the way to get through this wall of trees and try to have some kind of scrambling upshot. Classic De-La, difficult par three.
Oh, getting that hyzer to just gently stand up.
Amazing.
Wow. That is a ton of power right there. He's in a great position.
For sure. You'll notice Tony and I play this hole a little bit differently than the kids.
So, looking for just a 300-foot shot off the tee to set yourself up for a hyzer into the green over the top of the trees.
Yeah, there used to be a pine tree that really messed up that shot and made it a lot more difficult, but it's long gone now, and the oak tree that kind of used to protect the basket isn't really a tree anymore, so the airspace is wide open on the hyzer now. I actually have always tried to play this hole low, and just last week decided that this was the way for me to play this hole now.
Are you liking that spot you just landed in?
It's a little bit more left than I want to be, but it's still okay. I still have a hyzer around the trees. I'm just going to have to swing it a little bit more. Tony's in a more ideal spot here.
Oh, he's going for that little pocket. Gets it flat.
Voila. And that's why we do that.
Oh, yeah, you have a little bit more of a pure hyzer. You've got to really push this one back left. Well thrown. That's great to see your disc just come down at least.
Oh, it's great. And it's basically one little oak branch that kind of protects it, and it's not as thick as the rest of them, so you're not really as worried about sticking in that one.
Cool.
But if you did, you're going to have a drop-in putt, so there we go. There's 3 of us hitting that thing.
That's just the play.
Well, this is Cole's second shot. It's usually where most people are scrambling, maybe throwing their second or third shots from. But
I can guarantee that no card played this hole better.
Yeah, maybe somebody tied us, but yeah.
4 12-foot putts for 3.
Yeah. This is definitely a par frame that feels like a star frame.
Yeah.
A 3 on this hole can feel better than birdies on some other holes, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, great putt, dude.
These guys are good friends. Gannon is actually staying in Cole's RV at the DGA headquarter parking lot.
Yep. Camp DGA.
Pretty solid front 9 from Tony. Shooting an even. Man, this is just a treat to be here with you, Shasta, on the Central Coast disc golf coverage of the Masters Cup. This is actually one of the tournaments I watched on YouTube that inspired me to sign up for tournaments on the West Coast and get out and give this disc golf thing a shot.
That's so awesome. Well, thanks for having me here, Nate. I look forward to continuing on the back 9 with you.
See you guys soon.